On Tuesday, February 4th, we gathered to watch the documentary Always in Season, a film that reminded us of the history of racialized violence in America. After viewing such a powerful film, we began to engage in uncomfortable conversations about race and racism, whiteness and white privilege as it exists in our shared history and today. It was asked at one point, well, what now? We've had these conversations before, but what do we do now to create change? What I hope to offer today is not a single answer, because it isn't just one thing to do. It isn't one event that should take care of it in terms of the experience of racialized violence and inequity and injustice, but really talking about change as a process that we can move forward with healing, with transformative justice, and reconciliation. There's one particular resource I would like to recommend, and it's called the Racial Healing Handbook, and I think it's a very well-written book that's about activities. It is a workbook, because again, we're not waiting for some other person. We're not waiting for some other time or some other place. It starts with us. It starts with us engaging in action in our communities. So for all who came to the viewing and stayed for the discussion, you've already started the process. It's not going to be one event. I just want to underscore that. Some of the things that I recommend in terms of continuing the process, or maybe even starting the process, is to become comfortable with and being able to increase your tolerance for uncomfortable conversations, for being able to hear someone else's someone else's worldview and life experience that is different than your own. And part of being able to do that, to bear witness to each other's stories, is that we may hear and learn about the history of racism and how racism continues to occur in relationship. But that only comes when we're talking, listening, and connecting. It's so easy to let our emotions become overwhelming that we just want to either shut down, disconnect, or distance ourselves, or we become a bit more combative at times. We really want the other person to understand our perspective, but oftentimes the other person may be shut down. So, starting with ourselves, being able to recognize what comes up, being able to tolerate some of that discomfort without losing yourself. That way we'll have an opportunity to learn or even relearn the history of racism as it exists, especially in relationship. And one of the other recommendations, and perhaps the last recommendation that I think is so important, is to maintain your resilience. Doing this work, engaging in this process is not easy, and it takes energy. So you want to make sure that you are finding ways to connect to people, finding ways to feel validated and heard, so that you can have that natural bounce back to continue doing the work.